So we just arrived at the migrant camp, Grand Centre, just near Dunkirk. The group here, we just spoken to them, said hello. They're from Eritrea, planning to cross the English Channel. You can see the conditions they're living in here. What, of course, they should be doing if they need help is claiming asylum here in France. It's a safe country. The French asylum system is working. No one should be living in conditions like this. The French government should frankly be taking much better care of the people here, and they should be making their asylum claim if they want to make one here in France. So let's go and see if we can talk to some of the people here.
Got a full bag of life jackets.
Yeah, okay. Hiya. Have you got some life jackets? Life jackets in there? You've got some life jackets.
Really?
What are those for? How come you've got life jackets there? Wouldn't tell me. I think we know why.
But Chris, we just had a guy walk behind us with a rather large knife.
Need to go.
So we probably need to
Okay.
Yeah, and at the end of that, I mean, obviously we had to leave quickly because someone called a knife.
I found it pretty shocking. Yeah, we're talking to that guy. I didn't want to show us his face, and I was concentrating on that. And then you said that behind me somebody had walked past and pulled out some kind of machete. So yeah, we left pretty quickly.
Swinging it around in the air like that. I mean, it was clearly he was doing it to send a message to the other people. Yeah, to the other people there. So whether it was a case of don't speak. I mean, the other thing that I would just point out is we spoke to the one gentleman there. There was another couple of guys that we saw that were carrying brand new life jackets. Yeah. They refused to answer any real questions about that. I mean, the guy gave you a story about that he was from Afghanistan.
So quite clearly, they're planning to cross the channel illegally. And I said to him, that's illegal. And he said, I don't care. I mean, he was completely up.
Well, right,
okay, let's go. We've got to go. There's the aid camp just outside Dunkirk where food and other things are being handed out to the migrants who are here waiting to cross illegally into the UK. Coming to a hotel near you soon.
Chris Philp Emp's account paints a disturbing picture of just how volatile and dangerous Europe's border situation has become. According to his statement, while visiting the notorious migrant camp nicknamed the Jungle 2 near Dunkirk, his group was directly confronted by violence, threatened with a machete, pelted with bottles, and even having their car struck as they made a rapid escape. The most alarming part of his testimony is not just the attack itself, but his claim that those involved are highly likely to make their way to the UK, where they would be housed in taxpayer-funded hotels. This juxtaposition, violent offenders abroad today, potential recipients of state-funded accommodation tomorrow, is precisely what fuels public outrage over Britain's border policies. Philp's final remark, "This border madness must end," taps into a growing political demand for stronger enforcement, more stringent vetting, and a fundamental rethink of migration strategy, especially when safety, sovereignty, and public trust are at stake.
People smugglers are reportedly posing as French tour guides in Calais to meet and then direct migrants in preparation to travel them in a small boat to Britain. The new tactic has been uncovered in a French court case where a smuggler has been jailed for arranging trips. The gangs typically bury boats in beaches which are later dug up, ready for the crossings, with the purpose of the, quote, tours to give migrants an exact point of where the boat has been buried in the sand, the best route into the migrant camps, and where to meet inland before boats leave in the early hours of the morning. One French prosecution source said the idea is for the migrants to get a good view of where they will be leaving in the light. This is just absolutely bonkers, isn't it? How on earth? I mean, look, okay, so they've managed to snare one person and arrest them and prosecute them and all that. Brilliant. But how brazen do you have to be? Like, is it not quite obvious? You know, is that a guided tour of blokes from Sudan, is it? They've come to look at the beautiful French coastline, have they? Or they're taking a real keen interest in these sand dunes. I mean, how thick do the French police have to be? Joining me now is the UK's former Chief Immigration Officer in Calais and Dunkirk, Kevin Saunders. Kevin, thank you very much. I mean, yeah, so guided tours for the Eritreans and Ethiopians and Sudanese taking place in France. Remarkable, isn't it?
It is absolutely. Couldn't believe it when I heard the story originally. I thought it was, April the 1st almost. But you can see why they're doing it. They want to make sure that migrants know exactly where to go, exactly where the boat's going to be, which will limit their time on the beach, and thus, hopefully, from their point of view, mean it's less chance of the French police jumping in and stopping them.
Yeah, but it's just like, hey, Kevin, I would have thought it might be quite easy to spot this fake guided tour of northern France, because I don't know, maybe they've always had a strong Sudanese tourist market, but I suspect not. And I can't help but wonder whether or not, 40 African lads following someone in high vis down towards the sand dunes, especially given everything else we've got going on, might be quite a strong indicator that is indeed a fake tourist operation.
I agree with you completely, and I'm astonished that the French police aren't jumping all over this, because this would be so obvious, wouldn't it? You're taking them to where the boat's buried. So, yeah, well, I don't think I can ever be surprised anymore about what's going on.
I suppose the wider point here is, all right, we found out about this because of a court case, and so that by definition does mean that the French authorities have done something about it. I would have loved to have been there when the arrest was made, though. Have you got a tour guide pass? Have you got any credentials? I mean, that would have been absolutely hilarious. Asking them. It's got a little bit of a whiff of the Salisbury poisoning about it, hasn't it? Where the two Russian chaps who did it then came out and said, oh, we were just in Salisbury because we were there to see the wonderful church tower. That was why we were there. But overall, it cuts to the core, really, of if they feel as though they can operate with this level of impunity in France and take the mick, which is what they are doing, then it would imply the French police haven't been doing that much for very long, wouldn't it?
Well, that's another way of looking at it, Patrick. It would indicate that perhaps the French police have been drinking too much coffee and eating too many croissants and not being out on the roads actually seeing what is going on. Because, as you say, it's pretty obvious with the numbers that are involved that something is going on.
Former UK Chief Immigration Officer Kevin Saunders's remark underscores a glaring and deeply troubling gap in French law enforcement's handling of migrant smuggling operations. Expressing disbelief that the French police aren't jumping all over this, Saunders points to what he sees as blatant, unhidden activity in Calais. People smugglers openly posing as tour guides to lead migrants to concealed boats buried along the shoreline. These vessels are then used for illegal channel crossing into the UK. His comment suggests a combination of either willful neglect or insufficient resources on the French side, allowing organized smuggling networks to operate in plain sight. This situation not only emboldens traffickers, but also increases the flow of dangerous, unregulated crossings, heightening the risks of maritime tragedies. For Britain, it raises urgent questions about cross-border cooperation, the political will to dismantle trafficking rings, and whether France is doing enough to curb the problem before it reaches UK waters.